Governments around the world have reneged upon green commitments as a way to reduce costs. And earlier this year, George Osborne, the UK Chancellor, stated his belief that the Climate Change Act, Britain's commitment to decarbonise, was limiting our economic growth. The sentiment is clear. Going green hampers economic recovery. But how true is this? What if going green was good for the economy? I went to meet Bob Ward of the Grantham Research Institute at the London School of Economics. He explained to me the economics of moving towards a low-carbon economy.
Essentially, if you allow climate change to continue unmanaged, you will kill growth. Greenhouse gases are primarily driven by our energy system and our burning of fossil fuels. And if you think about it, inherently everything we do in some way involves energy consumption. So we're talking about a transformation fundamentally of our energy system. Now what we also know is that investment will cost something. It will cost about 1% of GDP. This investment that we make now creates new jobs. It will also be a period of intense innovation and creativity. That's what we've seen in previous large economic transformations. If you think about the introduction of the railways or the introduction of electricity, there were intense periods of progress, but it required an investment. If you look at economies like the UK, which is suffering from sluggish economic growth at the moment, well, how else are you going to generate growth? The clearest area in which you can generate growth is by investing in the transformation of our electricity generation system.
All that sounds very bucolic. Innovation, saving the planet, creating new jobs. But we live in economically straitened times. Can we afford to quit fossil fuels? Ilmi Granoff, a senior researcher at the Overseas Development Institute, talked to me about subsidies for fuel and energy.
Well, it's amazing, actually, that we haven't targeted some of the worst subsidies that we have our government here and in many of the governments of the developed world spend on fossil fuels, for example. Huge amounts on fossil fuels, both the direct subsidies and indirect subsidies for things like exploration. And we're perfectly comfortable with that, even though the end result is that it will cause climate change, which really will affect our well-being and the well-being of our children. You know, it seems like something like a fossil fuel subsidy is great, it's cheap, and it really benefits us because, hey, driving around your car seems a lot less expensive. But the fact is, we as a society have to pay for it one way or the other. First of all, when you subsidize it, you're paying for it out of tax dollars now. But then on top of that, there's going to be a huge social cost.
So that's how government can get involved. But what about businesses? They're driven by profit. Can it make sense for them to go green? Alistair McGregor of Trucost explained to me about their work with sports manufacturer Puma.
What you have to remember is that reduced environmental impact is the same as improved resource efficiency, so there's no reason why the cost should go up. On the other hand, the cost should actually go down in many cases, and in fact with Puma we found that the cost of producing the incumbent product and the more resource efficient product, the product with the lower natural capital dependency, were about the same. So for them there is no financial impact from producing a more sustainable product. And what you've also got to remember that in the future, they're now future-proof. So as natural capital scarcity increases, they are going to be in a position, they're going to have a competitive advantage which they can leverage when others are seeing their costs rise more.
Well, that's all well and good for businesses with capital to invest. But what about those of us who just want a bit more cash in our pockets each month? Isn't going green still expensive?
Often the greatest opportunities for both economic growth and economically beneficial decisions and going green are things like efficiency, which in the long run may save us thousands of pounds as an individual consumer or homeowner insulating their home or choosing what type of light bulbs to use. And choosing between the greener option or the less green option. But a lot of these things, because they have a cost up front, it can sometimes be a little intimidating if you don't have full information.
So now the big question. Where is the money for all of this going to come from? And how do governments help make this shift happen?
But that upfront investment is going to be made by private investors mainly, some public money, but mostly private investors. And what they want is governments to be very clear and consistent in policy. They want to know that the governments are going to stick with it, that they're going to create the policies that provide investors with that, not certainty, but at least a reasonable expectation of getting a return on their investment.
The move to a greener economy needn't have a negative impact on economic growth and jobs and the benefits that flow from that growth. We don't need to choose between economic performance and environmental performance. The two are not mutually exclusive. Better resource efficiency means both better economic performance and environmental performance.
Well, that's all well and good for businesses with capital to invest. But what about those of us who just want a bit more cash in our pockets each month? Isn't going green still expensive? So now the big question, where is the money for all of this going to come from? And how do governments help make this shift happen? Across the planet, governments are reneging on their green commitments as a way to cut costs. And earlier this year, George Osborne, the UK Chancellor, stated his belief that the Climate Change Act, Britain's commitment to decarbonise, was hampering our economic recovery. The sentiment is clear. Going green limits economic growth. But how true is this? And what if going green was good for the economy? Definitely rolling sound as well, are we?
Yes, we're rolling sound as well.
Governments around the world have reneged upon green commitments as a way to reduce costs. And earlier this year, George Osborne, the UK Chancellor, stated his belief that the Climate Change Act, Britain's commitment to decarbonise, was limiting our economic growth. The sentiment is clear. Going green hampers economic recovery. But how true is this? What if going green was good for the economy? To find out more, I went to meet Bob Ward at the Grantham Institute of the London School of Economics. Hold on. I went to the London School of Economics, where Bob Ward of the Grantham Institute told me about the economics of moving towards a low carbon economy.
Okay.
How was that?
Good. Okay, wait a second. It's rolling. It's rolling. So I need to put it on hold, and
Yeah.
then I'm sure. Okay.
Yeah,
So we are rolling.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready.
All that sounds very bucolic. Innovation, saving the planet, creating jobs. But we live in economically straitened times. We can't afford to subsidise the future. You all right, mate?
Hi guys, sorry.
Yeah.
Don't want to interrupt. I take it you're doing some sort of filming.
Yeah, just like a student report on the economy.
A student report.
Yeah, yeah.
For commercial use. or
No.
anything like that.
Are we still on the estate here?
Yeah.
Where does the estate finish?
The estate, it basically runs all the way the path all the way to
Yeah.
what's an area called Dundee Wharf. where it
Okay,
comes
sorry,
round
mate.
to the left.
I thought we were off the estate here.
No, this is all the estate.
Okay,
all
mate.
the way basically down to where that white taxi's just stopping at the traffic lights.
Okay, mate, no
Yeah.
worries.
So that side of the road, as far as I know, this side of the road is Tower Hamlets, but that goes under. But as soon as you hit the ramp, and all of this area is back on the estate.
So if we're over there, where those taxis are, we're okay down there, are we?
Providing you're on this side of the road.
Oh, really? Hilarious. Okay,
Can we
mate,
ask
thanks.
you actually, we need 5 minutes more, and this is like a perfect spot because we have a building going on, and we're speaking about the economic growth and things like that. Can we finish like in 5 minutes?
Well, I mean, if it was for commercial use, you wouldn't be able to record at all
Yes.
unless you had a permit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Canary
we are
Wharf.
doing like
But
a,
because it's
not
for university.
Yeah, well,
for
City University,
City University.
Journo. Yeah, we're just practicing. But if it's a problem, we'll go down there and we'll get out of the way.
Right. No, it's fine. Do you have anything to back that up that you're
No,
Not at us.
no,
nothing
not
at
with
all?
us. No, that's all right. Look, like I say, we'll go down there, and that way it's not a problem, and that way
Well,
we'll avoid
let
it.
me ask for advice, and then we'll go. From there.
We'll go down there, mate. We've been getting some. So we're getting some shots for when we're going to, because we're doing two things. We're doing a journalism report practice, and also we're doing scouting for